My life has been marked by God's grace from the moment I was born. You see, my mother had a difficult labor such that there was a high chance she could die giving birth to me. But both of us lived, hence my name, Nicole Grace. I was born to a Christian family, but being part of God's family cannot be inherited. It is each one's own walk with the Lord. I started reading the Bible at an early age, not because my parents told me, but it was the example of my mother who consistently spent time with the Lord early in the morning that made me think to myself, why not? I gave my life to the Lord when I was in grade 3. And even though I started early growing up, I felt like my life was average, dull at times. When I was in high school, I realized I had no ambition for my life. It was a terrible thought to me in a way that I knew I could do anything. I excelled in school, my classmates knew what they wanted to become in life, whereas I have no answer. Then I told the Lord, Lord, let your dream for me become my own. This was a certain pattern I have observed God doing in my life, and that is putting me in places I don't want to. Later on to find out how much I love it in the end. Maybe this is God just doing his job when I ask him to set the course for my life. In college, I got into interior design not because I love it, but it was the only school left open and where we can afford the tuition fee. I graduated magna cum laude and was able to get a scholarship to finish my degree at a partner university, where again I graduated as a magna cum laude. It's amazing how God set it up because he made me take my majors at this interior design school to be able to get a scholarship for my minors. Had it been the other way around, we wouldn't be able to afford it. My scholarship subsidized my tuition fee to 300 pesos per sem. So later, I got into a good interior design firm where I worked for several years. From something I had no idea doing, I came to love the industry that I'm in. My boss was so generous to the point that he wanted a selected few of his employees to get the share of the company, including me. I said to the Lord, Lord, I'm pretty much set up for the rest of my life, but if you want to take me out of this, you make a way. As I was signing the documents and transferring the shares, I told the Lord, Lord, why is it that I feel like I'm not going to get any cent from this, but I'm totally fine with it. It's not mine anyway. Little did I know that God was preparing my heart for something else. It was clear to me then where God wanted me to be, to serve him full time. I didn't like the idea of it because I knew it was the death to all things that I wanted to do for myself. But I remembered committing my life to the Lord. I am still serving God, the Lord, today as a full-time CCF staff. The story doesn't end yet. Perhaps, this may be one of God's big bang in a sense. Late last year, the Lord made me realize something. All my life, I have really been focused on living according to what the Lord purposed for me. I wanted the same epitaph written on my tombstone, the way it was written for David in Acts 13:36. I want to serve God's purpose in my generation. That was my aim in this life. I wanted to honor him by doing what he wanted to do in my life. After the prayer and fasting week, I felt a lump on my breast. I was kind of nervous in a sense because I knew what the worst scenario would be. But it was the week leading to IDC, one of our biggest events of the year, so I decided to continue serving and depended on God's grace, even if there was that thought in my head. But there was a moment that I had to face the fact that I have to be okay with whatever God wants to bring in my life. I was blessed to see how my mom went through cancer as if nothing happened. Everything was normal. So I will do the same. I don't want to be any different if I have cancer. I guess I don't want it to become my identity or feel like a victim of this disease or my circumstance. I knew what it was for, which is why I'm okay. So when the ultrasound result came out, it was obvious that it was indeed cancer. I sat home and I said to the Lord, Lord, the same holds true to me. What my parents said back when my mom was diagnosed, now it's my turn to say, for your glory, Lord, and I will still serve you. And as I walked through this journey, I was crying before the Lord because all I can see is his goodness through the kindness of the people around me. God has even sent strangers from around the world to help me navigate the season that I am in. The Lord has given me the grace to see his presence through his people more than the disease. God, through this sickness, gives me occasions to be able to worship Him. When I go to my treatments, there is so much laughter and generosity in the room as I talk to cancer patients and survivors. I get free fruits and free lunch from people I have only met for the first time. As for the way I live, I do what I can to live, and I'm preparing all things should God call me earlier than expected. I remember telling the Lord, I know it's so easy for you to heal me, but even if you do not, it's your prerogative. No circumstance, no matter how hard or painful, can change what Jesus showed us once and for all, and what kind of love He has for us by dying on the cross. So perhaps I can still say this because I'm still relatively okay. I'm not trying to be strong because I'm a fool to do so. But I guess in all these things, I know from the depths of my heart that God is fulfilling His promise when I ask Him to give me the grace to live for His glory. As Christ holds my life, I know it will always be worth it. I am Nicole Grace Perez, born by grace, lives by grace, and will be carried through this life till the end by God's grace. To God alone be all the praise and glory.